Hi again then guys, and welcome to the second episode of B-Road Ballers on Forza Horizon 3 in particular, and this is a review series for those who are perhaps new to it for the hatchbacks, both traditional hot hatches and also sleeper hatches, both old and new. And this vehicle in particular definitely falls more into that second category. It's not a hot hatch by any standards, but it does have a pretty big engine, a 4.2 litre, which still only puts out 120 horsepower, and in a car that weighs over 1,400 kilos, well, it's not going to melt your face with performance. However, the biggest weapon that this car has in its arsenal is its status. People nicknamed it the fishbowl years ago, and it's not hard to see why. Nobody takes the car seriously, although I personally really like this vehicle, alongside a number of other AMC vehicles, my personal favourite being the Gremlin, and that underappreciation, that underestimation, can really work in a car's favour. Because when nobody expects you to be the one in the lead, then they're not going to be focused on you, and that can give you the competitive edge to take the lead. And the thing about the Pacer is that for 35 grand, and being only a D-class vehicle to begin with, you can tune this car all the way up to the S2 class if required, and that gives you such a broad range of use to work with. So what about our individual scores? Well, for those who are new, I break down each vehicle into 5 categories, and each category is specific to the car's class. So in this case, hatchbacks. We have handling, acceleration, top-end speed, value for money, and usability. And then we tabulate those 5 together to give each vehicle a total score out of 100. So how does this car fall in that regard? Well, first of all, we have the handling, and for the handling, I'm going to give the Pacer a 3 out of 5, and that may seem to be generous, given how big, heavy, and wallowy it is in stock form. But, and bear with me here, wallowy handling is not necessarily always a bad thing. On a racetrack, it is, but Horizon 3 is not a racetrack. It's the outback, and as such, you've got bumpy roads, off-roading, jump tracks, and a variety of other situations where if you have rock-solid, ground-scraping suspension, you're going to bottom out, flip over, or potentially just stop dead. In a car that has a little bit of ground clearance and a little bit of bounce to its step, you can actually overcome those things surprisingly easily. And when you tune the car, even in lower classes, the handling becomes, I would say, a pleasure to work with. It's still not the lightest of vehicles, but it can be deceptively good. It's still not perfect, of course, which is why I'm giving it a 3, but still, it's better than people think. As far as acceleration as well, I'm also giving it a 3 for basically the same reasons. In stock form, it's not quick at all, but it has such a broad range, and especially in lower classes, this is one of those cars that you can get a surprisingly high amount of power out of while still keeping it in a low class, and that, as we all know, can be very useful. As far as top-end speed, again, I'm keeping the streak alive with another 3, basically for the same reasons as with acceleration. It has so much range, and although its top speed won't necessarily worry a supercar anytime soon, it can worry a surprising amount of other hatchbacks. As far as value for money, I'm actually giving it a 4, because for 35 grand, as we already said, you've got so much range of use, anything from D to S2 with this car, and believe me, it can give you victories. And speaking of that usability, I'm finally giving the usability score of this car a full 5. And that's something which will be controversial, not everyone will agree with that, but for me, the range of use, the understated appeal, and the cheap price just put it over the edge. And that means that overall, I'm giving the Pacer an overall score of 72. But that's it for now. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.